if everyone can see my screen, thank you everybody for attending our Life Cycle of a STEM Role Model webinar series. So yeah, let's begin. So what's Edu-Cater? So Edu-Cater Global is our non-profit social enterprise that we started last year in 2019. So I'll hand over to Philippa to just give us a brief background.
Hi everyone, my name is Philippa Kugonza. I'm a final year mechanical engineering student at Coventry University. I'm also the UK programs lead for Edu-Cater Global. As Frida has already explained, we founded this in 2019. We had our first event in Kenya based on innovation. So the whole point of us starting this series was to sort of take you through the different routes into a career in STEM, so that's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So every host for each episode or series has taken a different path to the career they're on, and there are different stages. This is our third webinar, and we have a couple more coming up. We'll put the website link in the chat later on, so please be sure to check that out. Yeah, I'll let Frida introduce herself.
All right, so I'm Frida Nzaba, so founder of Edu-Cater Global. I'm also a manufacturing engineer at Rolls-Royce. I've been there since 2013, started off as an apprentice and went to do a mechanical engineering degree. An interesting fact about this webinar right now, every single person, all the panelists, including myself, we're all mechanical engineers. So I would like to celebrate the fact that women in engineering is right here at your best. So thanks for tuning in, and I will let Ying introduce herself. So Ying, if you can give us your name, your occupation, and just a brief description of what you've done career-wise and education-wise, and then also end with a fun fact about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Ying Lo. I was also a manufacturing engineer at Rolls-Royce. And I started off as a graduate in Rolls-Royce, and I've worked on different areas from improvements to supply chain and as well as team leadership role. In terms of university, I have been to the University of Glasgow and Cambridge, like Frida said, working on, I did a degree in mechanical engineering and later manufacturing for my master's. One fun fact about myself, it is work related. So I worked on a hybrid electric aircraft project whilst at Rolls-Royce, and that's looking at what are the future type of electrical propulsion for new planes. And that was really cool for me because it's like seeing, you know, what I was working back then 3-5 years ago could be flying in the sky in 10-20 years time. So that was something that I found really cool. And that's the fun fact about myself.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much, Ying. And also a fun fact about yourself, you were last year's
Oh yeah, yes, I did win the IET Young Woman Engineer of the Year award last year, so that was quite a bit recognition and honor in terms of my career as an engineer.
Yeah, so the IET, for anyone that doesn't know, is the Institution for Engineering and Technology. So it's one of the, if you want to become a chartered engineer, it's one of the places, like for example, IMEC, it's one of the places that can help you through that process. So again, also Ying, if you would like to connect, she can support you in terms of chartership. She's very keen on that. So I'll move on to Antoinette.
My name is Antoinette Rusoke. I will be going to my second year of mechanical engineering at the University of Portsmouth in October. I had originally wanted a career in medicine, specifically cardiothoracic surgery, but the more research I did in my last year of A-level, the more I realized it was becoming more technical. And all through my childhood, I knew that doctors were the ones who saved lives. I never realized that it could be engineers. I asked myself if I wanted to sit back and wait for someone to create the future I wanted, or if I wanted to create it by myself. So I made this decision to pursue mechanical engineering and create robots that would improve healthcare and save more lives. So there would be more efficiency and doctors could do their job with less effort. A fun fact about myself is that I raised about £4,000 to create homes for people in less advantaged areas in Uganda.
So this is just a cool picture of her.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on. Over to you, Philippa.
Cool. So we're going to dive straight into it. What kind of support did you guys receive when you're writing your personal statements? I'll start with you, Ying.
Yeah, sure. I did my A-levels in college in Malaysia. And back then I didn't have too much support at the time. So I had to summon up all the courage I have to ask a tutor in college to proofread it for me. And yes, I did look it up on the internet, you know, some tips for writing personal statements. But back then I would think that there's not as many resources as we have available today. And I wish I had more mentors who can help me with this kind of thing.
Thank you. Over to you, Antoinette.
Well, a personal statement is a make or break document. Like, it's literally telling universities why they should choose you. So the hardest part was the introduction. I used the UCAS personal statement helper as a starting point, but then I found that my personal statement was a bit brief. I was just answering the questions directly, which maybe it would help in an interview, but definitely not in a personal statement. So after that, I went to my careers guidance support team and I asked them for help, and we made it a bit better. Then I asked my family for help, and yeah, I came up with a almost perfect end result. And yeah, it does take a village to write a personal statement. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Okay. So how did you guys make the most of your time in universities? So for example, in terms of societies, did you attend any fun societies, any educational societies? Did you volunteer? How did you network in terms of, for example, Ying, getting into Rolls-Royce? How did you get into that? So we'll start with you.
Sure. As an international student arriving for the first time in Scotland to do my degree, I was learning a lot about the country and the culture at the time. So I joined Formula Student. So as a mechanical engineering student, Formula Student is quite the natural choice for me. Formula Student, for those who don't know it, is a extracurricular project in the society where students get together to design and actually build a car and actually race it on the racetrack. And I worked on a car design in my second year. That let me know more people outside my course. You know, rather than your course mate, you get to know people from electrical engineering, from other parts of the university. Apart from that, I also I'd like to talk about one project, which is my final year project in university, and it was on an ultrasonic space drilling. And I want to talk about it because it's not the conventional final year project. Most people would wait for, to be assigned a project, but I didn't want that. I want to work on something that I'm passionate about. So before my final year, in the summer, I actually look online to see what projects are available in the university. And I really like space. So I found that one. I emailed the lecturer and said, I really want to do a project. Can I design my final year project around this? And he said yes. So I enjoyed my full 3 months working on space drilling, drilling on different rocks that simulates Mars environment and all that. And at the end of it, I even published an academic paper with my lecturers. So that's just some of the examples of things I do in university. Apart from that, I just try to pursue my passion. So anything to do with arts, workshops, networking, and I'll try to join and try to absorb as much as I can. So career fairs as well, I'll go to every single one of them and try to talk to different people and try to get information out of them. What do employers want from university students? So on the slide that was put up, I think you can see the two pictures there. So the one on the left is the Formula Student car that I designed. So as a mechanical student, like, I can do CAD design. So that was one of the fancy car designs that I've done as part of that. And on the right hand side, that's the ultrasonic drill that I've again designed and built.
That is so cool, Ying. So have you ever thought about just pursuing design on its own, or what made you venture into manufacturing?
Oh, as an engineer, you can do so many things, right? Like, you can literally design a sports car, you can build equipment for space, and you know, I end up as an aerospace manufacturing engineer, and the reason for that, well, it's got something to do with space and aerospace. I like things that fly, you know, rockets, planes, and things like that. I like it since I was a kid. So when I was applying for jobs, I think Rolls-Royce again is a very natural choice, and having this experience in university behind me really helped me get the job. So I was able to point to this experience and achievements, like my ultrasonic drill project and the published paper, to show that I am really passionate in this industry. And I think that really helped me get the graduate scheme, which was really competitive at the time.
Okay, good. Thank you so much, Ying. We'll move over to Antoinette. So similar question to you. How did you make the most of your time in university?
Well, unfortunately, I came a week after orientation, so I didn't have the chance to meet as many people. But thankfully, when I arrived, I found everyone was just as nervous as I was. And so I took a leap of faith and joined a sport I hadn't done before, hockey. Now, it was one of the best experiences of my whole first year. And just because I got to meet so many different people, not just engineers, but people from other courses. And I also attended many careers fairs so that I could just get an idea of where I was going, what companies I would like to apply to, and what companies I would have wanted to have my placements in. And I would go look at the master's students and watch them do their projects, because I found some master's students that wanted to do something similar to what I wanted to do. So it was quite inspiring watching my vision come to life in some way. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And these are some of your pictures. So were you involved in engineering clubs?
Yes. For one of my modules, we had to build a plane.
Okay.
So it was something I hadn't really done before, and many people in my course had some sort of experience since they had done similar projects. Some of them were formula students like Ying, and so they're really hands-on with this, and this was quite new for me. But yeah, it was quite nice getting to learn new things that I hadn't done before, and yeah.
Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you. It seems like you both did quite a lot. Is there anything that you feel like you could have done a bit more of to make the most of your time at university? I'll start with you this time, Antoinette.
Okay. So, yes, I do feel like I could have done more. First year was actually, coming to UK was actually my first time away from home. And so it was my first time being independent, and I was involved in a lot of activities. Like at the Freshers Fair, I signed up for so many things because this was my big break, my time away from home. I was able to do anything, no rules, no parents, and yeah, signed up for so many things. I thought I had all the time in the world. And so I found it so difficult to manage my time because I had a lot of work, and then I had a lot of society stuff to do, because it is quite demanding being in a society. So I feel like I could have managed my time a bit better. And in a perfect world at this time, I would have been back home in Uganda doing work experience and probably doing a short course on coding just so that I could get the hang of it. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to go home because of the current pandemic. So my plans have been pushed to a later date. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, some of the things you still can eventually do. A lot of studying now has gone virtual, so you could still go back and to look into that. What about yourself, Ying? Do you feel like you could have done more than you already did?
I always reflect on everything I do, and I always feel that I could have done more. Being an international student at the time in Scotland, I sometimes feel that I miss out on certain things because I'm not familiar with the place, events and things like that. But overall, I think I've tried the best I can, and I hope that's the same for everyone. Reflect on what you can do better in the future for your own learning, but don't regret anything you've done. So quite opposite to Antoinette. I wish I slept a little bit less and do a little bit more activities. But then again, it's you try to get the most out of it and don't regret it, and you learn it and make yourself better.
Cool.
Awesome. Okay, thank you so much. So just going back to the personal statement, because I think it's good for anyone that's going to university soon or looking to apply for university. What do you think made your personal statement so powerful? So if you can cast your mind back, what made you stand out from the rest? And also, are you able to elaborate on the interview process as well? Because I know most universities, you have to do an online interview or a physical interview. So could you give some of our people an advice? So start with Antoinette first.
Okay, from my personal statement, I think my passion really showed, because I didn't have your usual reason for engineering of I liked building things when I was younger. My whole viewpoint was healthcare, and from what I was told by the people that spoke to me, they told me that it was really a different way of thinking, because engineering, you'd usually think of building stuff. Most people think building trains, building cars, but who would think engineering saving a life, building a robot to do surgeries, And my advice for people who are writing their personal statements is be yourself, because all too often when you read other people's personal statements, you tend to pick ideas and think maybe this would sound better, maybe I should get this, then I'm sure to be accepted. I think you should really be yourself and and apply for a course you love, because nothing is worse than spending years doing a course that really you're not going to enjoy. Because I believe you should really enjoy your time at uni. I'm not meaning slack, but you should enjoy it. Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned, your medical aspirations gave it that twist. So again, it's not just the traditional route you took into engineering. So thank you for that. We'll move over to Ying. So over to you.
Yeah, I just want to say Antoinette's example is really, really powerful. So what she showed that, you know your own passion, you know what makes you unique, and you make that shine in a personal statement. So I think when I wrote my personal statement, I was 17, 18 at the time. Despite not having a massive amount of help, I know what sells. I was very active in extracurricular activities in school. I was, president of many clubs and societies whilst I was in secondary school. So I focus on that achievement and say, with these leadership positions, what I can bring to the community in university and what I want to do with my knowledge. So try to focus on what makes you unique, that is different to other people, and what you bring to the course. So focus on that achievement, as well as tailor the personal statement to the course and the university that you apply to, the first choice. So if you apply for don't write a general personal statement for everything. Write the one that you really want to go into, and then explain the genuine reasons behind it. I think people can tell whether it's you write it out of your heart or it was just something you copied off the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much for that. Over to you.
Yeah. So did you guys do any summer internships or volunteering before you started university that led you to do the courses you wanted to do, or did you just sort of always know from day one that's it, that's what you wanted to do? Like, did the experiences you had before influence the choice of courses that you did at university?
Should I start?
Yeah, go on, Ying. I'll start with you.
I didn't know that much about engineering when I was doing my A-levels. The closest, I would say, role model I have is a friend's mom who is an electrical engineer. So a lot of my knowledge about engineering comes from informal chats with people, from people I know about engineering. And what also inspires me to do engineering is my frequent visits to science museums. I love science museums, and just being in there and playing with electrical currents and touch screens and everything, that inspires me to go into engineering. Whilst I was choosing my engineering degree, I did get to visit some universities, even though they're not the universities I applied to. I went to visit, the faculties and try to understand a little bit more about the course in general and what that consists of. So I have a bit more idea of what I'm getting myself into.
Oh, cool, thanks. What about yourself, Antoinette?
In the summer after year 11, I worked at International Hospital Kampala for a few months, and I got to shadow doctors and nurses, and I got the whole idea. That's when I started to notice how much technology was needed. And then after my year 12 that summer, I worked at a baby's home where I took care of orphan babies, and then I was president of a charity called Habitat for Humanity. That's the charity where we raise the money for the disadvantaged communities. And all this work experience made me realize the huge gaps in healthcare, because you could see simple problems that needed complex solutions, that had complex solutions. I noticed how much time we needed to invest in healthcare. Especially during this pandemic, it's clear we need less human-to-human contact. I'm sure you've read how in Rwanda, robots have been deployed to deliver medicine, and how they are now screening for temperatures in different parts. So, I think.
That's a really interesting way to look at it. So before you started doing these, before you went into this work experience and internships, you originally did have your mind sort of set on medicine because you wanted to directly save lives, am I right?
Yes, for as long as I can remember, actually.
So then doing this, going through this work experience and putting yourself out there with the volunteering and stuff, that sort of made this dream a bit clearer, and then you knew it wasn't just medicine you wanted to do.
Yeah.
I think that's a really interesting way to look at it, because you could have probably not done that and not made the most of your summer holidays and just gone into a medicine degree and realized you hated it. So I think that's something we should all really take away.
Hands-on experience is really important for knowing what exactly you wanted to do. Because before, I just liked the idea of medicine, but actually working there, I got to realize what exactly I liked, what exactly I didn't like.
Yeah.
And did you, just to jump in, did you organize this internship or this placement for yourself, or how did you? Okay.
I did. I took a leap of faith and just went up to the human resource management and just told them exactly what I wanted to do, that I want to study medicine. Specifically, I had wanted to do cardiothoracic surgery. Wow. I told them I wanted to do it, but I needed hands-on experience just to see what it's like. I wanted to be in the center of everything just to know if it's really what I wanted to do. And I think I shocked them because they looked confused for a second and they asked me how old I was. Then when I said at the time I was 17, when I told them I was 17, they were actually kind of shocked. So I think they just said yes, because it was unheard of for a kid to be thinking about doing that during their holidays. So
But I think that, again, those are the things that make your personal statement, make you as a person stand out. So number one tip, especially as we're in August, for everyone that's listening, what can you be doing, whether it's online helping, training yourself with extra courses? What are you doing other than just sitting at home to expand your field and your knowledge for the area you want to go into? So so Ying, have you got anything to expand on that before we move on?
Yes, well, the question is the question about some internships and things like that. Yeah, I think I've mentioned about talking to other people and science museums. I've also been to sites, but not on a range work experience one. I've just gone to, like you say, it's very important to be on the site where action happens, so you see it for yourself. So I'm curious in a lot of things, not just engineering. I like arts. I like, books and everything. I just be on the site where things happen for that industry will allow you to have a broader perspective of what these careers involve, and then you can make a more informed decision.
So you just said being on site. What do you mean being on site? So for example, if somebody doesn't have a facility nearby, how can they go around that?
Well, I think for me, I was fortunate enough to have access to those places. Sometimes it's just construction sites next to my house. But if you're able to witness, what actually happens and how a house is being built, that's actually fascinating. On the other hand, if you don't, I understand a lot of people might not have the access. There are a lot of virtual tours online, which I find very helpful, and I'm still doing virtual tours on my computer now in this pandemic when everything's gone virtual. A lot of organizations have done, well, even work experience weeks have gone virtual. So try to make use of that, and even reaching out to people. Like, I don't mind. I've used my time to help other people just for a chat, to give a bit of advice to people who are going to university or trying to get a job. Many people are willing to help, and don't be afraid to reach out.
Okay. Thank you for that. So the next question is, what advice would you give to people planning to start their university, or who go maybe next year, maybe not this year, but the following year? So we'll start over with Antoinette.
First of all, and I cannot stress this enough, pick a subject you're interested in. Do not go to uni and pick something that you're not interested in, because to do something well, you need to be doing something you love. And I would say time management. Don't do what I did and sign up for a dozen things and mixed up. You should create a timetable and have everything sorted and have self-discipline to follow it. You need to also focus, because good grades open many doors. You won't have a wide variety of places to go to if your grades are really bad. So you need to put your grades first, because that's what you went to uni for. But that doesn't mean you should put fun last. You need to enjoy yourself, because this is one of the best years of your life. And lastly, never be afraid to ask for help, because in my engineering classes, most of them, I was the only girl, and I would find myself keeping quiet, kind of going to the background, because I was always scared to ask for help or even speak up. So I feel like you should be confident, be bold, and yeah.
Should I go next then? My advice for those going to university, I think, firstly, is to try to gain technical credibility. So that comes from your grades, that comes from your STEM outreach, that comes from your work experience. So think about what makes you different from your peers or from your other students. Do you do something extra that other people are not doing, and whilst they're watching TV? Try to push yourself, even at school, with grades, with extracurricular activities. Try to push yourself, volunteer to be the leader, volunteer to bring your project to the next level, and not just meet the grades and pass. Secondly, what Antoinette has said, and I can't agree enough, is demonstrate passion. You can only excel in a field that you really enjoy. Like, don't push yourself into something that you're not enjoying. Like, you can only be good at it if you really like it. So demonstrate the passion, and that helps in your university, and after university as well, in your career. If you're doing something just because you've chosen it, then you wouldn't go the extra mile to make yourself and make other people happy. So you must have passion for it. And thirdly, be proactive. So I think you've seen some really good stories today, how Antoinette just reached out to doctors in hospitals at the age of 17, just asked for a work experience. I've got a similar story where at the time I was in Scotland, and Rolls-Royce was advertising like a one-day tour of the factory and tried to let students learn more about the factory. It says final year students only, and I was only first year, but I wasn't, I was like, there's nothing to lose. So I applied anyway, and I actually got the experience and actually get to visit the factory. So just be proactive, and as long as as long as you go and try it, then there's nothing to lose. You can only gain by being proactive. Talk to recruiters and actively network. The fact that people are here today in Edu-Cater's webinars means that you have links and resources that can help you in your university and your career. So utilize these resources and get the most out of it.
Oh, thank you, Ying. I couldn't agree with Ying and Antoinette more as well. Another thing would be explore the different parts of your course, because loads of the courses people do at university are quite broad. It may be, even if it's something like general engineering, medicine, whatever STEM subject it may be, towards the end of your degree, you will have to narrow it down and specialize in something, but you don't want to make a prompt decision to specialize in something and realize once you've got into it, that's not what you want to do. So I'd say throughout the duration of your course, explore the different parts of that. If I was basing it off my own experience, when I started doing mechanical engineering, I thought I was like really into cars. I did an internship with Toyota where I was full-time working with cars and realized that's definitely not for me, but decided to explore other parts of my degree, went into aerospace, and I realized, okay, I'm really interested in planes, and then started thinking ahead, maybe I should do a master's in aeronautical engineering rather than mechanical engineering, which at the end of the day, you wouldn't know unless you actually put yourself out there, like Antoinette and Ying did as well.
Yeah.
Cool. Over to you,
I was
Frida.
just going to add to that. So in terms of Ying, so you're a chartered engineer with the IMechE, I believe. So similar to what you said in terms of, are you ever too young to get signed up with the chartered engineers? So for example, with the IET, with the IMechE, so you might be maybe based in a different country. So it's worth maybe checking what things you have in your country, but in UK, those are the top two essentially for engineering. So are you ever too young? So do you have to be a certain age?
I don't think so. You don't need to be a certain age. And for students, especially university students, they have associate membership, which means you don't need to pay membership fees at all, which is really beneficial. And that again connects you to a lot of projects, a lot of industry connections, as well as opportunities that you might not have otherwise known if you're just in university.
Perfect. And within that, they do offer events, don't they? They usually do like one-day events, maybe touring the Airbus, touring any different facility. So I guess that's something that if you're really interested, or you think, how do I get an extra internship or work experience or something, that's how you do it. So get yourself affiliated with these large organizations that get people chartered, and then ask them, have you got other events?
I just want to add on that both the IET and IMechE are international, so it doesn't matter where you are, you can sign up to be an associate member, especially if you're a student. And sometimes if you manage to get connected with somebody within the institution, again, remember, be proactive. You can always reach out to somebody working in the industry and say, can I come and shadow you for one day to see what is work like as an engineer? And you will gain invaluable amount of experience from that.
Perfect. And would you be able to maybe drop that the links to the IMechE and the IET just for anyone that's interested?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you. All right. So over to you, Philippa.
Sure. So, how best do you think people can prepare themselves for the job market while they're still at university?
Who would you want to answer this question?
I'll start with Antoinette this time.
Well, it is very competitive, the job market, as I've seen. So I feel like, first of all, your grades should speak for themselves. Like, your grades should be able to show how serious you are about your degree, first and foremost. Secondly, I feel like you should do your research on where exactly you want to work. Nothing is worse than going to apply for a company and hating your first day at work or hating your first couple of months at work. You need to know what exactly it does and if it is what you're interested in. And also talking to people, as Ying said, speaking to different people, getting their points of view, and just getting different opinions, just so that you can have an idea of what you're walking into. Yeah. Ying.
So I think I have a slide for that. So one of the key things for me is when you choose a degree, you're choosing a career path, and try to think long term, think 5 years and 30 years ahead. Monitor what are the important trends around the world now and try to ride the wave. So you want to be studying a degree or do a project in university that will make you very marketable when you graduate. So you need to have a situation awareness of what's happening around the world and what skills the industry needs. So these are my analysis of the current macro trends. I'm not saying, they are the absolute rules that everyone should follow, because you have to decide for yourself, and things changes very quickly all the time. So constantly monitor what are the trends. For what I have up here, like first one is healthcare. And through this pandemic, there's been huge interest and investment back into healthcare. And healthcare doesn't mean you have to go and be a doctor or nurse. It is about medical technology. It's about, medical infrastructure, and so many more things in healthcare. And that's going to be a big trend, at least for the next 5 years, investment into healthcare industry. So that would be a big one. So even if you do engineering, like Antoinette is very well placed to capitalize on that, being an engineer and actually interested in medical technology. The second one is climate. We all know, what kind of challenges we have in climate change and sustainability. So many governments and companies have pledged for zero carbon future by 2050 or something like that. But, things are not just going to turn into zero carbon overnight. You need engineers, you need designers to make this happen, right? Cars are not just suddenly going to go zero pollution. Who's behind that? Engineers. So again, like if you choose a degree, you are going to be part of that change. And just that is going to be making huge impact for not just a country or not just any individual or organization. It's going to be for the world. And finally, very importantly, digitization. The pandemic has basically accelerated this trend. Something that should happen 5 years is happening in 5 days. So a lot of things are just going to the cloud platform. Everything's being digitized. And even in manufacturing plants, like you will see that traditional plants making metal parts have to be digitized. We are getting data out of every single process. So that again is a very big trend and very exciting for engineers, because the amount you can do with digital platforms and data is amazing. So in my own personal view, these three things are going to be huge in the next decades or so. So I would say that these are the ones that will be constantly getting investment, and again will be recruiting. It is competitive out there, but I think if you ride the trend, then you will be having a bit of a head start compared to others.
So for somebody who's, for example, maybe is tuning in and they haven't got engineering as a career or a career path, how do they get into these roles, do you think? So digitization, how would someone get into that if they haven't got an engineering degree?
Well, you don't always need an engineering degree for that. So digitization will, we have computer scientists, mathematics, and even then, if you're working in, let's say, logistics, shipping, you know, or any sort of parcel deliveries, they will have a component or an element of digitization in there. You know, machine learning is a big thing. So many people are learning how to code right now, and maybe that's still a bit of an engineering element in it. But there are so many more things. Being aware of that, or even having some skills and awareness in that, will again help make you stand out compared to other people. And I think if like climate, it's about energy, it's about sustainability. And even if you go up to do a business degree, you might be able to make an impact through these trends.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Antoinette and Ying, for your responses, and thank you to everyone who's been listening in. I'm going to open the floor to questions. If anyone has questions they'd like to ask Ying, Antoinette, or maybe even myself and Frida, or any general questions, now's the time to ask. You can either put them in the chat, or you can be brave enough and just unmute yourself and ask. So yeah, the floor is yours.
Okay, while people think of questions to ask, I've got a question. So what are your next steps for the future? I'll pass that to Antoinette. So if people can just type any questions they've got at the bottom, and we'll quickly pick them up and ask.
Okay, short term, after I finish my second year, I would like to do a year in industry to gain hands-on experience. And I would like to work for a reputable company so that I can grow my engineering career to the highest level. And after I graduate, I would like to work for 3 years, hopefully maybe enter a graduate scheme, and then do my master's in biomechanics, and then start building my medical equipment.
That is amazing. So soon we'll be seeing the COVID robots built by you.
Get ready. So hopefully by then we have found a vaccine, but
you won't need them.
yeah. So for the next couple of years, as we wait for me to graduate, we'll just have to wait for the future that I'm envisioning to come to life.
Amazing. Okay. Move over to you, Ying. What's next for you?
Well, I think I will continue to push myself outside my comfort zone, and I am actually moving into a new role as a junior manufacturing specialist in a consulting firm. And in terms of long term, well, one day I always want to run my own space company.
Oh, the next Elon Musk.
Okay.
Well, maybe Elon Musk can be the male version of me. I don't know.
I love that. I love that. That's really good. That's inspiring. You've heard it here, guys. You've heard it. 2020.
We'll be waiting on that, Ying.
You can send us to space with Virgin or Elon Musk or your own.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a few questions that are coming in. Just to mention, Ying, so what made you swap into consulting? So you mentioned consulting. So what was the move? What was the thought process behind that? Just in case anyone's looking at the business aspect rather than the more engineering technical focus route.
Yep. So I think one of the main reasons for the move is I always want to create impact, and I think the intention for me moving into consulting is hoping that I can create impact at a much higher level, at the C-suite level. And what the engineering experience and the degree helped me is being really quantitative. So I'm pretty good and comfortable with maths, and that is a very strong skill to have in the world of business. And also I'm still within the operations practice. So again, my experience will be informing my future work in that area.
Amazing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, thank
I
you.
have a few questions coming in. Tanya is asking, it's amazing to hear how medicine and engineering can be mixed. What other things can be combined?
So
I can go first. I have a few in my head. So there are so many things that engineering can be combined with. I'll just give off a few that comes to my head. You can be an academic, you can be an engineer and an academic. You know, being a lecturer in universities, writing books, teaching people, doing research. That is one path. The one other path, you know, you can be the very hands-on type. You know, you can design and build the product within, you know, in the same person with a small team. Usually that's like workshops and Formula One teams, usually quite small, very agile, very hands-on. Or in the larger scale, like Rolls-Royce, you can be designing aerospace, you can be designing anything, systems, even data platforms. And I know others who are a performance engineer. So that means they might have a mechanical engineering degree, but they're actually evaluating performances from tests, you know, engine tests or even equipment tests, and you can do that. And the other one is so they call Femtech, so creating new technology and advanced technology for pregnant mothers. And that's, you know, people say, oh yeah, pregnant mothers, you have like, you know, breast pumps and whatnot, but they are using very, very advanced and innovative technology to do that. So there are so many things, you know, engineering can be applied to. It's everything that you touch and see in your life.
That's true.
We have some more questions coming in. I skipped one from Kenneth. What is the influence of others towards your statement, and does Johari window apply? Sorry, did you pick up on that?
What does Johari window mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Kenneth, do you mind shedding some more light on that? The question's not so clear, and I'll get back to that. In the meantime, there's another question in from David. If supposing my subjects have already been decided for the 9th grade, and these subjects are where I'm not so strong in, is it wise to follow through with it or make another choice? Antoinette, I'll let you answer this one.
I feel like you should make another choice. You should do things that you are comfortable with in your A-levels. It shouldn't be things that other people want you to do or other people are picking for you. Because when I had first started my A-levels, I didn't even know I wanted to do engineering. I didn't have physics, which was huge when I came into uni and I realized everyone had done it. So it wasn't your usual career choice for someone who had done my subjects. I had done biology, chemistry, and maths. So if you look at it, it was more towards the medical part or even biology or yeah. So I think you should think through it and just decide if it's really what you want to do, if you're willing to take the risk or if you want to take something more that you would enjoy more. So yeah.
Ying, do you have anything to add on that same point? Whether you think it would be wise to switch subjects if you feel like you're not enjoying what you're doing, or just follow through with it?
Well, it depends what this follow through means. Are you still able to pivot away from that if you follow through? If there's still a plan B, then, you know, what is the cost and what is the benefit? But overall, I agree with Antoinette. Do something that you liked. That's always much better.
In my opinion, because this person said 9th grade, that's quite early on in secondary school. So I believe you have enough time to explore what it is that you want to do. So if you feel like you want to pick up an extra subject that you feel you are stronger in, maybe don't drop what you're doing yet so far. Explore that and sort of see how it goes. Because 9th grade, you still have a bit of time before you set your mind on something.
I think 9th grade is around 14 to 15-year-olds. So I guess this would be just before GCSE. So I'm assuming you've already picked your topics for GCSE then. So if that's the case, what would you advise this person? if they've already decided on GCSE topics and they're already pursuing it, how do they swap to something that they like, or something that maybe is like a career in engineering, or something more, yeah, that would yield to a career?
Your GCSEs are really broad usually, like it's just a broad range of subjects. So you can specialize in your A levels, but for now, I would recommend just trying your hardest, because you never know. You might think you're not strong in it, but maybe just needs a bit more effort and time for you to properly get the hang of it, because it's an extra skill.
Yes, and similar to what Antoinette said, mainly for your GCSE, I would say from my experience, maths and English are the top key things that they always ask in application. But then they also influence what you're going to do for your A levels and, you know, your college. So I would say that it might be worth even possibly retaking another year if those are going to get you to the university you want, or the college or sixth form you want. And never compare yourself to anybody around your age. Don't say, oh, I'm going to have to reset another year. It's better you do that and end up in a career that's meaningful in the future. You know, like similar to what Ying has said, a career that's, you know, that's going to go somewhere in the future that people will appreciate. So never be afraid to do an extra year or a foundation degree to get where you need to be.
Okay, thank you. Kenneth has gone on to explain what the Johari window is. It's what people know about you that you don't know, what you know about yourself, what you know about yourself and others, and what no one knows.
So
if you can go.
is it like a blind spot then? So is that what you're trying to ask, Kenneth? So what do people...
I think I've seen that before. It's like, you know, it's a matrix about what you know and what you don't know. And then there's a corner that's what you don't know that you don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can try to answer his question, and then kind of you can let me know if I have answered it. The influence of others towards your statement. So what you don't know that you don't know, you have no control over. There are knowledge out there that I don't know that I don't even know. So you only try to control those things that you know. Either you know that you know, or you know that you don't know. So if you know something that you don't know, go and find out about it, and just try to control what's within your control boundaries. So, you know, if you, for example, if you like, I lived in Malaysia and I've never been to Cambridge, but I wanted to go to Cambridge, and that's something that I know I want to do, but I don't have anyone around me that I can ask questions for. So that's just utilizing the internet then, or, you know, getting to Glasgow, and then from Glasgow I try to find connections or people who can advise me on that. You know, try to be resourceful in however limited resource that you have.
Okay.
Thank you, Ying.
Thank you. We've got one question that we missed. So I was inquiring about what exactly makes a university application look good. So I think we've gone through this, but just maybe a quick summary, 3 points and from each person. So we'll go with Antoinette just to answer this person.
What makes it look good? Firstly, being yourself. Originality is a big thing for the personal statements in the university documents, because they don't want to read something that they've read millions of times before, or something that they can just go and Google and just find it there. Experience, something that differentiates you from the rest. They want to see the effort that you've put into actually pursuing what you want to pursue. And lastly, they also would like to see dedication and commitment. Dedication towards actually researching on the course you want to do. Like, why is it that you want to do this? Why this in particular? What is it about this course that makes it different from other courses? Why is it so important to you? So as Ying had mentioned, nothing too general. You need to be quite specific. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Over to you, Ying. So 3 pointers that you can give this individual.
Oof, I think I might be repeating Antoinette, so maybe I'll just give 1 point. Bring a bit of your own personal story in it. People like to see a personal story, whether you want to do engineering or medicine or law or accountant. You know, what is your unique individual perspective? what inspires you, and what will you do with this degree afterwards? Focus on that. I think that will make your personal statement really different from other people.
Amazing. Okay, I think we have, so one question for you, Ying. How long did it take to make the Formula One car on AutoCAD?
Is that the one that we show? Well, it wasn't. I think it took several weeks, but that was because I was tweaking, the material thickness, the colors, doing the rendering and all that. But in terms of the main car, like, if you know what you're doing, technically you can build it in one afternoon if you know what you're doing. But I was learning at the time, so it took several weeks.
Did you use AutoCAD?
No, I was using SolidWorks. I should have said that.
Ah, perfect. Okay. Amazing. So I guess we've got 2 minutes to conclude. Philippa, have you got anything to add before I conclude?
No, that's just pretty much about it. Just to remind everyone to sign up to our next webinars, but I think you'll go ahead and talk about that in more detail.
Okay, so thank you, everybody. We've got 2 minutes till we close. Thanks for joining us. And I would like to share the next webinar that we have is on the 25th of August, Tuesday at 5 till 6. So this is BST, so UK time. But if you're in Kenya or East Africa, it is 7 till 8 p.m. on the 25th. And for these webinars, you have to sign up to the Zoom again, and you'll receive the link and access it the same way that you've done for this one. So I would like to thank Ying and Antoinette so much for joining this, and I appreciate your time. And also, just to mention, I think Antoinette's not on LinkedIn, but Ying is very active on LinkedIn as well and other social media. So if you want to reach out to her, feel free. And also, we're going to have 5 to 10 minutes after this call. So if you are interested in talking to them personally to get advice, stay on the call. However, if you're not, and we don't have any further questions, I think that's it. The meeting is concluded. So thank you, everybody, for joining.
Thank you.
You may start leaving the webinar, and we'll stay behind for anybody that wants to ask further questions. So if you're interested in staying behind, just continue staying behind as people exit.
If you do have any questions, you can send them in while we wait for everyone to sort of leave if they're through with that.